And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Saturday. Welcome to the third live stream in a row in terms of weekly. Good to have you here. I'm switched around today because I'm recording at a time where I'm not usually recording. So the sun is coming down and it's hitting the side of the table that I usually record on. So I switched it around. I'm literally sitting on the other side of the table. You can see right behind me, I got my movie and DVD shelf with my two of my favorite Transformers of all time just kind of chilling out up there doing their thing. I got this music in the background. I'm going to turn it down just a tad. Let's try out something new. There we go. Just trying out something new. Just have a little bit of background music going on. Hopefully it works out well for you. Let me know if anyone shows up. Let me know if this music is too loud, and I will turn it down for you. But what I thought I'd do is I kept changing when this stream was going to come out. I acknowledge this. My intention was honestly to record yesterday, but I was I was exhausted. And then I decided that the time that I reset the stream to go was going to be just a little bit too right in the middle, like supper time. So I decided to shift it to a little bit earlier. So I don't expect anyone to pop in for the stream. Oh, one person popped in. Hello, nice to meet you. If the music I have on in the background is a little bit too loud for you, please just let me know, and I will turn it down. But what I thought I'd do today is, now that we finally got the stream underway, because there's been a lot of revisions going on, is we're going to draw a house. I'm going to start off by, I haven't been doing a whole lot of fundamental practice. Hello, FJ, nice to meet you. Nice to have you here. I haven't been doing a lot of fundamental lessons in my YouTube channel here, most any of them really. So I thought we would just do a little drawing a 2-point perspective house with some background elements going on there too. So hopefully you find it interesting. Let's switch this camera around and get going. All right. I'm gonna turn that music down a little bit more. There we go. This is the kind of music that I do almost all my drawing to. So for a 2-point perspective, what you're gonna want is you're gonna want some kind of straight edge to go with your paper. Most people would use a ruler, but I don't really have one of those handy, so I'm just gonna use another piece of paper. Really, anything that has a straight edge, you will have no problems using, as long as it's long, at least as long as your paper. A little bit longer is more ideal for you. So the first thing you want to do when you're drawing a 2-point perspective house is you want to put in the horizon line. The horizon line can be thought of as your eye line, your eye level. So if you put it in about the middle of the page, then this could be more like a human horizon line, human eye level. If you put it down lower, this would be more similar to something like through the perspective of like a worm or something like that, very low to the ground, so you'd be looking up at things. If we put the horizon line higher up on the page, then that can be thought of as more of a bird's eye view, so you'd be looking down at a lot of the elements, whereas here in the middle, you'd be looking more straight on at them. So I'm going to use my straight edge and draw my horizon line right across about a little bit higher up than midway on my little paper here. Now, again, to work with a 2-point perspective, you want to do what are called vanishing points. And a vanishing point, quite simply, is where all of the lines that are not going straight up and down or straight side to side are going to be going towards. For 1-point perspective, you'd have 1 vanishing point. For 2-point perspective, you have 2 vanishing points. So I'm going to put one right here. And I'm going to put one right here. So all the lines that I'll be drawing that are not going straight up and down or straight side to side will be going back towards these 2 vanishing points in certain ways. Thank you for the like, the one person that is watching. I really appreciate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line, a straight up and down line, that goes from above the horizon line down to below it. So that means that we're not going to see the top or the bottom of this shape we're going to be drawing, because it goes across our line of view. So now I need to take the top and bottom of this line. I'm going to take my straight edge and angle it back towards the horizon line over here, as well as the vanishing point over here. I'm actually going to turn my light source on so you can see things a little bit easier. There we go. Now I've done that to the bottom of the line, so I'm going to do that to the top as well. Go from here to here, and draw my line. Do the same from here to here. Again, if you have a ruler, the ruler will work just fine too, but I don't have a ruler handy, so any kind of paper or object with a straight edge will do you just fine. Now I want to decide how large my house is actually going to be, so I'm going to have the house stop over here, right here, and over here, right here, and I'm going to go straight up from there. Just like that. And then I can erase the parts that go beyond the edges of my house. I don't need those anymore. Okay, so this is the only part that I really need. I can get rid of this part as well in the middle, because this is going to be a solid structure. And actually, this line is not going completely straight up, so it's going to fix that a little bit. Just like that. Now to start adding details to this house here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw on a doorway. So we'll draw a straight up line right here. And then since it's not going to go straight across, because everything that I draw on here has to be angled back towards the vanishing points to make this look like a three-dimensional piece, should look like a three-dimensional house, I need to measure from here to here in order to figure out how the top of this doorway should go. And since I know the doorway isn't going to be very long, I don't have to go all the way back there either. Wouldn't make much sense if the door was any bigger than this. Hello, 3 people that have joined the stream. Nice to meet you here. We are drawing ourselves a 2-point perspective house, and we're going to draw some mountains in the background and maybe some light poles right over here if I'm feeling extra fancy. So for the doorway, again, any line that is not going straight up and down or straight side to side needs to be angled to the vanishing point. And since this is gotta go, we'll watch later. Okay, Raid side, please do watch later. I would really appreciate that. Thank you for telling me. So since this doorway is on there, Jordan, well, joke's on you. There are no trees in this one. There's light poles over here. Okay, I'm gonna put light poles over here. But here, Jordan Fluff, are you happy now? Does this make you real happy to know that you reduced me to this? There. A happy little tree. Let's move on, shall we? Okay, so since this door is on the right side of the building, then everything that I draw an angle towards has to go to the right side. FJ, I don't know if you were here for the last stream or if you've watched the last one, but near the end of that one, it just my comments and chat just descended into complete and total tree nonsense. No, you're getting one tree and you'll be happy with it, Mr. or Mrs. Fluff, whichever one you are. You'll be happy with just the one. Deal with it. I'm not drawing another one. Okay, so we're going to draw a window on this house. I'm going to try to get this back on track. Straight up and down line, angled back towards the right-hand vanishing point. Just like that. Here, and then on the bottom, just like this. Just realize now that that tree is just going to be there on my straight edge the entire rest of the time I'm drawing this. Whatever, that's fine. I can deal with it. I need a drink of Powerade. I don't drink the other alcoholic things. I'd rather spend my money on art supplies, honestly. Okay, so I'm drawing another window right over here. Just like that. Yes, Jordan, it's always going to be there. Yeah, you must be so proud of yourself. Giving this one a little bit more dimension too, so I'm going to draw some lines just like this. Now, it is important, if you're going to be drawing crisscrossing lines such as this, if you want to make it look like it's in perspective, then you want to have the first line occupy more space than the second line, so that everything that moves further away from us should get smaller and thinner as it moves further away. Let's draw some windows over on the left-hand side. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm actually going to draw one big rectangle and then divide it into two separate windows. Make things easier on myself. Again, angle the top and bottom of the line towards the vanishing point that it is on the same side as. Connect them like so. Then I'm going to draw where the middle of the window would be, just like right here. And then I want to divide these into two separate windows. So I'm going to draw a line right here, and then a second line right here. At this point, I can grab my eraser. Again, guys, let me know if the music in the background is too loud for you, and I'll turn it down, or if you can even hear it anymore. I thought the music might be a good way to also offset the AC, because, sorry, but I'm not turning off my AC during the summer. It's just not going to happen for the sake of the stream. But I erased the space in the middle to allow for... The music is okay? All right, good to know. Thank you. So I erased the space in the middle here, so now we have two separate windows with a lot less effort. So I'm going to thicken up the line here in the middle to give it more depth and dimension. All right, let's go ahead and draw... Well, let's actually draw the top of the house, shall we? Well, let's draw the roof. So what I'm going to do is I want to decide where the middle of this roof is going, the roof would be on this side of the house. So the middle of the house is not going to be right in the exact middle, measurement-wise, between here and here. It's actually going to be a little bit further off to the side right here, because again, this part is moving away from us, so it gets a little bit smaller. So from here is where I can move down and draw the actual rooftop on this side of the house. Oh, thank you, Jordan Fluff. I really appreciate that. What may really inspire you is what we're going to be doing after this is done, because I'm going to share an embarrassing artistic memory, and then I'm going to attempt to do a better job of drawing it with my newfound skills. It's a drawing that I made a very long time ago, and I'm a little bit embarrassed by it, but I want to show you what I used to be able to do versus what I can do now. So, I am just drawing the top of the house right now. Again, angling everything towards the vanishing point. So actually, I think this part of the house should probably be a little bit further along, kind of like right there. That looks like that makes more sense to me. When doing a angled rooftop like this, it can be tricky to figure out what exactly you should be doing. So what I would do, I'd recommend just trying things out and seeing if they look right to you or not. And if they don't, then try to just fix them up until they look right to you, perception-wise. So I just did a little bit of futzing around, and I'm pretty pleased with how that turned out. Again, nice simple house. So I'm going to draw a little chimney here. And so the top of this line needs to angle towards this one and the other vanishing point too. And then go straight down. All right. So I think that is going to about do it for the house itself for right now. So let's give it a little bit of context. Let's put a road going right here, I'd say. Let's put this house right beside a road, maybe some kind of like country road. Take me home to the place where I belong. If you know that reference, we're cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my straight edge and make sure that the road doesn't go like right next to the house. So I'm going to angle it right down to here. Just like that. And then come and do it again, but angling the opposite direction, like so. So now we have basically what looks like a highway right here. Because the thing with perspective is the idea behind it is that things appear to get larger as they move closer to us and smaller as they move further away from us. It's just like when you're driving on a highway or just a very long road in general, and it seems like everything comes together at a point, just outside the edge of your vision. You know it doesn't physically come together, but because of the way our human eyes determine sight and determine depth, it appears to do that. That's the whole idea behind perspective. You know that this isn't actually a three-dimensional house, and you know this isn't actually a three-dimensional, physical, real-world road, but because of the way I'm drawing it, your mind starts to try to make those distinctions using the familiar hallmarks of perspective. That's how artists have tricked people visually for ages now. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my straight edge again. I'm going to angle it a little bit further and lightly draw another line. This is going to be for a set of light poles that I want to draw. So the first light pole, I'm going to draw it right here, and it's going to be pretty large. That's good, FJ. This sort of thing is very important for any young artist to learn how to do. Not only for drawing outside things, but also for drawing interior perspective as well. Sounds like you had a good art teacher. I'm glad to hear that. So the second pole, it will start right on that same edge as the first one did. But it's going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit skinnier. And also, if I take a line and draw it from here to the vanishing point, that also tells me where the top of the light pole needs to stop. Third one will be just a little bit smaller, and you can see too that not only am I drawing it skinnier, but I'm also drawing them closer together. The actual physical distance between these two things does not decrease as they move further away from us, but it appears to with our use because of visual perspective. Then I can simply draw some of those cross beams on all of them in order to draw all those little wires that hang around between them. We can also have them go off the page so it appears that it continues to move on, even outside of our field of view. Well, why don't we finish this little drawing off by putting some mountains in the background? I think that sounds like a fun idea. So for mountains, they don't obey the quote-unquote rules of perspective because they're flat to us. So I'm just going to draw a set of lines that are curling and moving and swooping just like this in the background. Hope you guys have been having a good week so far. My week has been pretty darn good. I got some things done that I've been trying to get finished for a while. Got back into watercoloring. I actually want to do a live stream of talking about watercolor. Probably not, it probably won't be this Saturday. It's midnight in Germany. Midnight? You're watching this at midnight? Good. Oh, good sir/lady. Go to bed. You must be so tired. Has it, Jordan? Oh, I'm so happy for you. So happy. So there's some mountains. Let's go ahead and draw. Oh, why not? Let's just draw in a big old cast shadow. Let's say that the sun's coming from over here. So I'll put a big old cast shadow just right there. And I'll shade in this side of the house except for the windows because there's light coming in from those windows. Yes, sir. All right. So that's just a nice, simple 2-point perspective tutorial on how to draw a house and 2-point perspective. Alrighty, so a quick drink. We're gonna call that good. That's the warm-up to the one other thing that I wanted to do today, and that is to show you something from here. Okay, so let me explain a little bit. I am not a young man anymore. I am almost 30. So, the way that I can draw now, and the things that I can do now, are not the sort of thing that I was able to do when I was younger. Say, for example, junior high and high school. In junior high and high school, I loved to draw. Loved it. Absolutely loved to draw. However, I was absolutely terrible at it. Yes. As much as I love to draw, I believe that I was 100% garbage at it, and the only reason I got better at it was because I just really wanted to keep drawing. I have this, what I call an itch in my hand. Chimichangas from the past stream, yes, I just kind of had this one over on the side just as an example of, so this book is a prime example of something I used to do when I was back in high school, which would be I would pester my parents to buy me sketchbooks, lots and lots of sketchbooks. I would do maybe 1-2 drawings in them and then just discard them because, well, honestly, I don't know why. I would get a new sketchbook, do 1 or 2 drawings in it, and then just stop drawing in it. Because I was like, oh, well, it's not new anymore. I need a new one. It doesn't make sense, but it's what I did. So the other day I was rooting through one of my old boxes at my parents' house, and I came across this little book. I think that says Eyes Ideas. I think you can see that. Eyes Ideas. That doesn't even make sense because my first initial is J. But as an example, I didn't really do any sort of actual drawing in this book. I did a lot of weird reminding myself of things. And then I found that, this is back in 2008. I drew this 11 years ago. And I was proud. I was proud of how good I made that face, because I came up with that just out of my head. It doesn't even matter that it doesn't even matter that I had no idea how hair was supposed to work. You want to explain to me how he has parted down the middle, slicked back hair, but also has these 3 giant bangs? Actually, I can tell you why those bangs are there. Those bangs are there because back when I was this age, I had no idea how to draw the second eye if I was trying to draw it from my head, the other eye that's on the other side of the head. So I would just cover it. I would either put the whole face in shadow, or I would just cover it with hair or with a bandage or something like that and be like, oh yes, I'm so sneaky. Now I don't have to draw that other eye. Oh man, what was the other one? I think the other one was, this one. Now see, this was a year later. This is in 2009. So that was still 10 years ago at this point. So here's the question for the 2 of you that are in the chat right now. I really want to go back right now for you guys and draw one of these again. Do a redrawing of one of these now. Do you think I should do a drawing of this guy, the guy with the sword? Or do you think I should do a new drawing of this guy with the bangs that you can somehow magically see through? What is your opinion? 1 or 2? Whichever one you decide, I will happily do so. You want the sword man, Jordan Fluff? That one? Okay. If the second person doesn't speak up, then I'll just go ahead and do that one. But in the meantime... Oh, FJ, you want number 1 as well? Okay, you two. I will redraw Sword Man. What I love about Sword Man is this... One of the things that I struggled with the most as an artist when at this age was anatomy. And you can tell because look how thick that neck is. Look at that jawline. It just kind of extends right into his ear, and more than that, look at how tiny his body is compared to his head. Big heads on tiny, thin, skinny bodies was my whole thing I did back in the day. So let's very carefully try to get this out of here. Okay. So, I'm gonna put him right there off to the side. So I feel like I need to stick with the spirit of the original one as much as possible. So I do have to hide the E. I have to hide that eye. That's just kind of a thing that has to happen. All right. Let's see how redrawing Swordman goes. I really hope it ends up looking better than the first one. Otherwise, I'll be very embarrassed. All right. So I'm on camera right here to here. Okay. The chain reminds me of Doofenshmirtz from Finish Forever. Yes, see, that would be great if I had intentionally done that and wasn't doing my very best to try to do all the animes and the mangas that I had seen at that time. Because I was like, oh, the drawing anime and manga, that's a lot simpler of a style to do, so I shouldn't have any problem drawing that. Why would I want to draw Rio people? Because drawing Rio people makes you a better artist. Okay, so he has a very pointy chin, so I have to keep that pointy chin, and his nose is very far off to the side, so we have to keep that. So I'm gonna block in a basic head shape. So he's very skinny, so we'll keep that sort of idea alive here. Okay, so we'll block in the back of the head about here. Just like that. I'm okay not having the rest of the body there for right now. I'm drawing the trapezius muscles. Make sure his shoulder actually goes out to a reasonable spot, just like that. Blocking the eyebrow ridge. Okay. So we got the basic head shape of the character ready to go. A new person who's joined in. This is a drawing I did back in 2008, literally 11 years ago. This is back when I was just about to enter into college. This is how good I was back then. So I'm currently redrawing this to see if I've gotten any better or not. Okay, so what do we got here? Well, the first thing I want to do is finish blocking in the rest of his body. So I need to put in the other shoulder muscle. Just like that. Okay. So, we're making progress. This already has a better basic understanding of how things work in general. Let's fix that up a tad. Okay, so he's got a very pointy, very long nose in the original one. So let me try to replicate that. Okay, very long pointy nose. I'm gonna go ahead and do the thing that I didn't do before and add the nostril. There we go. At the very least, I should add the nostril. Look at how long of a fulcrum he has between here and here. By the way, the fulcrum is the little space between your lips and your nose. That's so long. I had no idea how anatomy worked. Oh, I'm also not working off any references right now except for this one. So we'll see how this goes. So he's not happy. He's very... Back in the day, the only characters I could draw were very stoic, very neutral expressioned characters. Yes, I do believe... Maybe that's why he's crying, because he literally can't breathe out of his nose. I don't know what this is either. I would just draw tattoos and, like, things and, like, tear tracks and earrings. Like, I don't know. But what I do know is that I truly thought that this stuff was like legitimately good back in the day when I didn't really know how to draw, but I did like to draw. So also take this as an inspiration to all of you too, that you can always get better. You don't have to start off being amazing at art. You just have to start drawing art, and then eventually, if you practice well, you will get better. Practicing well, that's something that I could make another stream out of, which is basically just like, how do you practice? He's very feminine. I know this is a guy, because I would always draw the guys very feminine. So I'm going to give him a very feminine like lip right there, lip coloration, I guess. Okay, so the eyes are very big, but this eye doesn't make sense proportionally to his head. Because in case you didn't know, if you took where the nostril ends and you drew a line straight up, that would actually hit the inner part of your eye. So we're gonna start right there, and it looks like I do need to give him a big eye, but it has to make more sense proportion-wise. So that looks like it makes a little bit more sense. It looks like I was heavily inspired by the eyes from Yu-Gi-Oh, I would bet. Because I did watch a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day. Oh, we got Hallelujah in the background. Hopefully this doesn't get me demonetized. But if it does, I don't really care all that much. Oh, I shouldn't start doing this yet. One way to actually help you learn to draw eyes better is to draw the outside parts, every part that you draw it in increments, and then repeat that part you just drew on the other side. So this eye is going to be covered up, but I do want it to actually be there so I know that it all looks correct. So we're getting there. So we got the shine right there. We got another shine right here. And then I'll draw in the rest of the eye. It looks like I didn't do any sort of additional eye detail on the inside, so I cannot add that now. But I want to, so I will. Okay, there we go. We're making progress. Things are happening. I think this looks better. Okay, so we'll draw in the eyelid next, which is a single line, followed by a second line that overlaps on top. Just like so. Look at how high up that eyebrow is. It's literally right next to the hairline. For most realistic things, it doesn't work that way. That's reminding me of Handsome Squidward. Oh, I've actually drawn Handsome Squidward for quite a few people. For some reason, Handsome Squidward is very popular with people. Your brain is not broken. Your brain is not broken. I can actually see it. I think it's this. It must be this. If I gave him a butt chin, then it would definitely look like Handsome Squidward. Like I said, I've literally drawn Handsome Squidward for several people for commissions. I don't know why he's so popular, but I will not judge. I will not judge. Alright, so I need to draw in his ear. His ear should start at about the bottom of the nose. I was actually in choir when I was in high school, and this is a popular song for us to sing. I actually sang in college too. I was in our orchestra in choir. It was actually one of my scholarships. I survived college because I had many fine art scholarships that I had to maintain throughout my college career. There we go. We're giving him a jawline. We're giving him an actual proportioned ear. And now I'm actually going to roughly sketch in where his forehead will be, which is going to be about right here. All right. So let's tackle the hair. Let's get the hair done, and then I'm going to do his weird little tear track, get the earring in, do the top of the clothing, and then probably just do the sword in the background again. All right, so what do we got here? We have a single strand of hair doing this kind of thing, and then we have these 3 long spikes of it. But for this to make more sense, I'm going to draw it as one big shape first. Just like this. And then I can divide it into the separate spikes, just like so. I'm actually going to have them stay a little bit clumped together because when hair falls and when hair moves, it actually stays together in more of patches and clumps than anything else. It usually doesn't actually start to wildly splay apart like I drew in the original piece there. So on the top, we can do something like this. And then I actually need to erase out the part that is underneath the hair. Because that's a weird anime thing I've noticed too. And a lot of anime or manga drawings, especially from fledgling artists, is they will draw the hair over the eyes, but the eyes will still be visible under the hair. And I've never really understood what the point and purpose of doing that was. Because all it does is make it look like your character has magical see-through hair, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me personally. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking the hair and I am pushing it back behind the ear in order to try to make sense of just this mess that's going on. So I'm dividing it into pieces. And then again, instead of having it go straight down, I'm letting it sort of fall and flow as it moves back. Because that makes the hair feel like it has more form and depth to it, as opposed to just coming here and then just going straight down. So I'll repeat the same thing over on this side, just like that. This guy actually ended up looking more like an even more feminine Sephiroth, and I didn't really know that was possible. But there you go. Okay. I'm trying to decide if that was supposed to be some kind of like turban or something, but I very clearly drew the hair. I very clearly drew a dividing hairline right down the middle. How do you think I'm doing so far? I think it's going pretty well. I think it's going pretty okay. All right, so let's do this tier track. So for the tier track, what I want to keep in mind is that the tiers will start on the outside edge of the eye. Are you ever just doing something and all of a sudden Africa by Toto placed in your head, or is it just me? Not necessarily Africa by Toto, but there are times where a random song will just fly into my head and there's nothing I can do to stop it. Right now, it's actually The Last Unicorn by America that's stuck in my head currently. But you want to know an embarrassing secret? The one that actually gets stuck in my head the most? Well, a doc walked up to a lemonade stand and he said to the man running the stand, "Hey, Bob, 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 got any grapes?" Yeah, the duck song, you know, the song from like 11 years ago that I first heard when I was in high school. That's the one that gets stuck in my head the most. And now that I've said that, it's going to be stuck in my head again. Thank you, myself. That one and the Narwhals song. Narwhals, narwhals, swimming in the ocean, make a big commotion because they are so awesome. Yeah, that one. That one gets stuck in my head. So what I'm doing right now to try to get back on track is I'm making the tier track follow along the actual contours of the face. So instead of having it just go straight down like I did before, drawing it this way actually gives my character more depth, and it makes the character have a more feeling of physicality to them by having it clearly move along a three-dimensional structure. Okay, so what do we got left? We have the shoulder and we have the clothing. So this character is wearing a sleeveless-esque shirt. So what we'll do is we'll have the shirt sleeve come out like this, and then we'll have the opening of the shirt come down like so. Draw that on both sides. You want to give a fabric a little bit of a lift as it goes around. You don't want it to just cling skin tight right to the body as it's moving around. Give it a little bit of a lift like this, and it will make it feel more like three-dimensional fabric. Okay. And then I'll render in a little bit of the shoulder. And then a bit of the tattoo that you would actually be able to see. You can't really see all of it right now, but that's okay. I need to put in the earring. I'll just give it a little bit of extra shape to it. Just like that. Okay. Now we have the sword to deal with. So we can go ahead and do that. So what I'll do first is I'll draw a guiding line for myself. I'm just going to draw it all the way through the figure because I'm going to be inking this later, so it doesn't really matter if I draw a line through the character right now. Because if you didn't draw a line right through the character, then you could end up with the sword coming out at a different point than it's supposed to. So what we'll do now is I'll draw in the hilt. Again, I'm going to try to keep to the spirit of the original thing that I was drawing, even though the actual guard on this doesn't really make a whole lot of actual sense. Like, you would more likely hurt yourself with the sickle-like edges that the sword has than anything else, but whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and draw in the hilt wrap for the sword, just like so. And it looks like the blade is about the same thickness as the grip of the sword, so I have to stay true to that. I know what I was trying to do here. I was trying to do the sort of Midoriba style of blade edging, where it's the tempering process gives a sort of like wavy textured effect going on there. Didn't necessarily succeed, but I'm also extremely hard on myself regarding anything that I've made that's more than a couple of years old. So when I saw this in this old sketchbook, I just knew I had to redraw it. I had to see if I was better. And I think, thank goodness, I am. Okay. So aside from the crazy diamond detailing on the sword here, that was the thing too. I love to do, like, what I would call unnecessary detailing. If you heard that, then if you're on my first stream, you know that that means that a certain animal requires going outside. Hey babies, let's go outside. You, come on. That's what you wanted to do earlier. You bumped my hand. Come on. Come on, you. You go outside. You can wait because you're a very good girl. Okay, sorry about that, but that happened in my first stream too. My dogs just like to interrupt my stream. They want to be a part of it. Especially this one. She's my love. Okay. Back to business. All right. But yeah, one thing that I really liked to do back in the day when I would do drawings like this is I would love to put excessive amounts of detail in things. And by excessive, I mean this sort of detail really is not needed. It doesn't really enhance anything. All it does is just sort of make everything look a little bit more busy. But I love doing that because I was also not very confident in myself as an artist. So I felt like if I just obviously spent more time on each and every piece so that people would be able to tangibly see how much effort I put into it, that would automatically make it good. And that's not necessarily the case. Sometimes less is more. But there we go. There right now is the redrawn version versus the old school version. So I think what I'll do to finish this off is I will go ahead and give this one a basic inking, and then I'll probably go back through and detail it up a little bit more later. But by the time I finish inking this one, the stream will be at about an hour, and I'll be needing to stop. Looks like a woman, but looks really good. Hey, thanks. Honestly, the other one looks like a woman too, so I'll take it. That's fine with me. Drawing in the anime style meant that I made my characters look very androgynous, and I didn't really know how to make one look masculine versus making another one look feminine. Just didn't know how to do that at the time. I think one of the issues was that I was working with art books at the time. I was trying to teach myself how to draw anime and manga. So I would grab myself a bunch of art books and just try to draw what I saw. So what that meant was I really wasn't understanding all that well it was I was actually drawing, or more specifically, why I was drawing things the way that I was. Because if you don't know why you're drawing something the way you are, then you're just setting yourself up for failure. So that's another reason why someone can be able to draw something perfectly that they see, but when it comes time to render something on their own without a reference, they might not be able to do so because they only know how to copy what they're seeing. Sorry, I just need to concentrate there for a second because I don't want to mess this up, because I'm actually I'm liking how this character is turning out. My only question to those of you that are watching, and those of you that will watch this after the stream is done, is what do you think the name of this character should be? That'd be the question that I would have for you. When you look at this character, what name just kind of pops into your head? Because I find one thing that's difficult for me still after all this time is giving a proper name to my characters. Because you want something cool, but you also don't want to go the route of you give them such a weird sounding fantasy name that it just sounds silly. You see, Jordan, I'm ignoring that one that you just gave me right there because I knew you would probably find some way to turn it back around to that particular subject matter that you love oh so very, very much. I should have known. Sure known. Don't know why I'm surprised anymore. Really don't. Okay. There we go. I'll do detailing and such later on. Does what rhyme? I don't really know what you mean, my friend. There we go. Yeah, when I need to concentrate, my brain just kind of stops working for a little bit to make sure that I'm doing things right. And then I will come back around to actually functioning. I don't know, Jordan. You tell me. The first name that comes to my mind is Kiara. Ooh, that is a good name. I like that name a lot, actually. Kiara, what's this? Oh, that's why that sounded familiar. Kiara, that's actually the name of Simba's kid from The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. If you haven't seen that movie, that's actually a pretty solid straight-to-video Disney sequel compared to all the other ones that have come around. Lion King 2 is actually pretty good. But then that makes me want to start ranting about the live-action, quote-unquote live-action Lion King that's coming out in a couple of weeks. And I just don't want to do that because I have ranted and raved about that so often to everyone around me that they just don't want to hear about it anymore. But suffice to say, I'm not happy with Disney deciding to just remake all of their old movies, just try to cash in on nostalgia and then tell you that you shouldn't be thinking about the old movie when you're watching the new ones because you need to let the new ones stand on their own. You want to hear it? You really do? Okay. So, here's the problem with live-action Disney remakes. They are 100% unnecessary. Any new bits of information that they add to those movies only serves to either A, take care of a plot hole that was never a problem in the first place, or B, they just make the movie worse. No more of a prime example is with the live-action Beauty and the Beast. In that movie, they introduce a book. This book can magically transport you through space and time anywhere you want to go. So when Belle sees that her father is in trouble and oh no, she has to get to him, she rides a horse. Now, she rides a horse because she rode a horse in the original movie, but hey, you're not supposed to be thinking about that movie when you're watching this one. You gotta let the new one stand on its own. But in that case, why didn't she use the book? The book can magically take you anywhere. And even if you want to say, oh, well, the book can only take you there in like space and time, and like outside of space and time, and you're like a ghost or something, well, she could still use it to see where he is and get there faster. But no, she rode a horse because she rode a horse in the original version. And they can't change that now, can they? The live action Aladdin. How dare you disrespect the memory of Robin Williams as the genie by recasting him, saying that he can be recasted and that he was an expendable resource. How dare you? But B, I saw the movie. 95% of the movie is almost shot for shot an exact replica of the original animated film. They do nothing different except to give Jasmine a terrible song, and they changed how the ending works with the final battle. Suffice to say, it's nowhere near as good. They tell us again and again to let go of our childhood nostalgia for the old film and just watch the new one on its own merits. Just enjoy the new one on its own. This is a new interpretation. This is the version for adults because it's not animated. Excuse my French, but screw you. If you remember the original Beauty and the Beast, the characters were objects brought to life. They were literally household objects that had been brought to life, or they had been transformed into those objects. But still, in order to make them as able to actually be characters, the Disney animation team took those objects and made them and gave them more human-like qualities. They allowed the characters to actually be emotive and expressive, while still obviously being those household objects. When they had to translate that to live-action CG, then, in the remake of Beauty and the Beast, they were not able to make them animated like they were in the original because that wouldn't be quote-unquote realistic. So they changed their designs to look like real objects, which just basically meant you did not get any sort of expression or character out of any of them because they weren't able to, because they had to still look like real objects. So Mrs. Potts was just literally a face painted on the side of a real teapot. And you can't tell me that that design is better than the original design. You just can't. Also, in my humble opinion, Emma Watson cannot sing. But the crowning achievement of Disney basically giving the middle finger to not only the fans of the original movies, but the original movies themselves, was when they announced the cast list for the new Lion King. And you know why that made me so very not happy? Every single character in the new movie has a new voice actor, except for one, Mufasa. You might be thinking to yourself, well, that makes sense. Mufasa is like an iconic voice, and I agree. But Disney is basically telling you, and telling us, that Mufasa only character from that first movie that was worth preserving the original performance. Everyone else was replaceable. Everyone else was expendable. They said, Scar, oh, we don't need the original voice actor for Scar. Anyone can do his voice. The original voice actors for Timon and Pumbaa, anyone can do their voices. Anyone can do the hyenas. To which I say, no. You don't get to do that, Disney. It enraged me so very hard to see that they were disrespecting Jeremy Irons, the voice of Scar, and really every other actor from those movies like that. I would even say that Zazu was not a replaceable character either. His actor Rowan Atkinson gave it his all to give that character that sort of personality that he had. And Disney says, you are replaceable. I don't like Disney live-action remakes. I think they are boring, I think they are pointless, and as the final nail in the coffin for the Lion King version, the trailer that they released, every single shot is an exact replica of a shot from the original movie. The difference being the original movie had more color. The new one just looks like it's a bunch of browns and grays. And the original one had personality. You can't tell me that a CGI real-life lion is going to be as expressive as a cartoonified lion was able to be. They were able to exaggerate and change and simplify a real lion's design to be able to give them expression and character that real lions are not able to do. You look at the lineup for what all the characters look like in the movie, all the lions look the same. All of them look exactly the same. Ugh. Okay. So, bottom line, Disney live action remakes are designed solely to cash in on nostalgia for the old films and to prevent and to make sure that Disney doesn't have to do any original ideas of their own. Okay. So basically, this drawing here, is a drawing that I did 11 years ago. And the people that were in the chat before, live action Pumbaa is scary? Yeah! You seen live action Rafiki? He's terrifying. A real life baboon is terrifying. So the fact that they were able to make Rafiki and make his design in the original movie as likable as it was is very impressive and a credit to the original designers. That's why these ones are an insult. They're an insult to the memory of the original films that they're aping their success from. And I hate them. Truly and legitimately, I hate them. I hate everything they represent. The only reason I went to see the live action Aladdin is so I'd be able to actually give an informed opinion about it instead of just spouting off my opinion and then having people accuse me of, oh, well, you didn't actually see the movie. Well, I did, and it was garbage. It's the exact same movie as the original, but with a worse genie, a worse Aladdin, and a terrible, terrible Jafar. But Princess Jasmine was really good. They cast a really good actress for Jasmine. It's just a shame that that song that she sang was terrible. So this is a redrawing of a character that I designed 11 years ago. I wanted to see if I could do a better job now, and I think I succeeded. I will come back and do some detail work with this later, but I think now I'm going to have to call it on the stream because my voice is starting to give out, and it's getting a little bit later. It's getting about supper time, so my dogs are going to be getting hungry, and I need to go and exercise them first. So thank you to all of you that participated in the stream. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to me that there's a couple of you that are consistently coming and enjoying the streams every single time. It really means a lot to me to have you here live. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching my stream. I really appreciate having you all here. And for anyone who is just joining this is the very end of the stream, but please go watch it again later. I drew a house at the beginning, and then I go through that whole process later, and then I just start ranting about new Disney films. So have a good weekend, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try to do another stream next week, either on Friday or Saturday. I'll probably have maybe another scripted video out in the meantime. So have a good day, all of you. Yeah, I hope you go to sleep. It's still past midnight now in